When 19-year-old Rahim Malik married 71-year-old millionaire widow Samina Qureshi, the entire city of Karachi buzzed like a disturbed beehive. People whispered outside tea stalls. Classmates stared at Rahim in disbelief. Social media turned their wedding photo into a storm of cruel jokes. Some called him a gold digger. Others called her foolish. Only 7 days later, Rahim himself would begin to wonder if they were all wrong, or if he had been. Rahim had grown up in a one-room house near the old railway tracks. His father had died when he was 12, leaving behind debts and a sick mother. Rahim studied under streetlights, borrowed textbooks, and worked evenings delivering groceries. He had earned admission to a prestigious private university on partial scholarship, but even with financial aid, he was drowning. Tuition, rent, medicine for his mother. Then, through a charity scholarship interview, he met Samina Qureshi. Mrs. Qureshi was not just wealthy, she was legendary. She owned textile factories, real estate, and shares in international companies. Her late husband had built an empire. She had expanded it. Newspapers once called her the Iron Widow of Clifton. But the woman Rahim met was not iron. She was thin, pale, and sharp-eyed. She listened more than she spoke. During the interview, she asked him unusual questions. "Why do you study engineering?" "To build things that last," Rahim replied. "And if everything you built collapsed?" He paused. "Then I would build again." Something flickered in her eyes. 2 weeks later, Rahim was summoned to her mansion. Not for a scholarship. For a proposal. "I have no children," she said calmly, seated beneath a crystal chandelier. "My relatives wait like vultures. I need a legal heir I can trust." Rahim stared at her, stunned. "I will fund your education fully. I will clear your mother's medical debts. In exchange, you will marry me. It will be respectable. You will live here. You will learn my business. When I die, everything will be yours." He felt his throat tighten. "Why me?" "Because when I asked you about collapse, you did not speak about money. You spoke about rebuilding." The offer felt unreal, dangerous, tempting. Rahim wrestled with guilt for days. Was he selling himself? Was this wrong? His mother, frail and coughing in bed, listened quietly when he told her. "Do you respect her?" she asked. "Yes." "Does she respect you?" "I think so." "Then marry with dignity, not greed." And so, the wedding took place, small, quiet, legal. The headlines were not quiet. Teen marries 71-year-old tycoon. Love or luxury? Rahim tried to ignore it. He moved into the massive mansion overlooking the Arabian Sea. Marble floors. Staff that bowed. Rooms larger than his entire childhood home. Samina remained formal but kind. They did not pretend romance. They had an agreement, and both understood it. But there was something unsettling. Every night, after dinner, she would disappear into a locked wing of the house. No servants allowed. No explanations. On the 6th night, Rahim heard something strange. Crying. Not loud. Not dramatic. Soft. Broken. Coming from the locked wing. He stood frozen in the hallway. His heart pounded. He had never heard her sound fragile. The next morning, he asked gently, "Are you unwell?" Her face turned to stone. Curiosity is dangerous, Rahim. That night, he couldn't sleep. Questions swarmed his mind. Was she hiding something? A secret illness? A hidden family? Something darker? On the 7th day, everything changed. Samina left early for a board meeting. She forgot something rare, her key ring, on the dining table. Among the keys was a small brass one, labeled only with a faded red thread. Rahim stared at it for a long time. He told himself he wouldn't. But he did. The locked wing smelled different, dust and old paper. The lights were dim. He walked slowly, pulse racing. Then he saw it. The walls. Covered. From floor to ceiling, photographs. Hundreds of them. Children. Young boys and girls. Some smiling. Some thin. Some standing beside hospital beds. Rahim stepped closer. Each photo had a name. A date. And beneath many of them. Adopted. Sponsored. Graduated. Engineer. Doctor. Teacher. His breath caught. At the end of the hallway stood a door slightly ajar. Inside, a small room. No luxury. No marble. Just files. Boxes. And in the center, a wooden desk covered in handwritten letters. Rahim picked one up. Dear Ami Samina, I passed my exams because of you. Another. You saved my sister's life. And another. Someday I will make you proud. His hands trembled. This wasn't a secret of shame. It was a secret of sacrifice. Before he could process it, a voice cut through the silence. You weren't meant to see this yet. Rahim turned. Samina stood at the doorway. Her eyes were not angry. They were wet. I didn't want anyone, she said quietly, to think I did it for praise. Rahim looked around, overwhelmed. How many? He whispered. She gave a tired smile. 212. The crying he had heard. It wasn't weakness. It was memory. You're not my heir because I needed a name on paper, she continued. You're my heir because this must continue. Rahim felt shame burn in his chest. For doubting. For suspecting something selfish. I thought, he began. You thought I married you to control you? She asked softly. He nodded. She stepped into the room. I married you because I'm dying. The words hit like a falling building. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Months left. Maybe less. I needed someone who understands rebuilding, she said. Rahim stood there, heartbreaking, not for money, not for inheritance, but for the woman the world misunderstood. And now, he had 7 days of marriage left to prove he wasn't what they thought. He wasn't a gold digger. He was about to become something far heavier. A legacy. After that day, the mansion felt different. The marble floors no longer echoed emptiness. The air felt alive, with responsibility. Samina did not collapse dramatically. She continued attending meetings, reviewing contracts, giving orders with sharp precision. But at night, she grew weaker. The crying Rahim once feared became conversations. She told him everything. How she and her late husband had lost their only child in an accident decades ago. How grief hollowed her out. How she began funding one student, just one, to feel purpose again. 1 became 5, she said. 5 became 50. She never created a foundation in her name. Never held charity galas. She operated quietly, through trusted lawyers and schools. My relatives would destroy this, she admitted. They see numbers, not futures. Rahim began working beside her daily. Not as a husband in romance, but as a student of impact. He met some of the sponsored students. They didn't know he was the legal heir. They simply knew Ami Samina. One evening, he visited a small clinic she funded in Lyre. A little girl ran up to hug Samina, holding a drawing. It showed a stick-figure woman with silver hair and a big heart. Rahim swallowed hard. 7 days ago, he had walked into this marriage thinking survival. Now he understood something bigger. 3 weeks later, her health declined sharply. In her bedroom overlooking the sea, machines hummed softly. She called him close. The lawyers will read the will tomorrow, she whispered. He held her fragile hand. You will face storms. I can handle storms, he said, voice shaking. She smiled faintly. Not financial storms. Human ones. She passed away before sunrise. The funeral was modest by her request. But the will reading was not. Her extended family gathered, dressed in black but hungry-eyed. Rahim sat quietly as the lawyer opened the envelope. Gasps filled the room. Yes, Rahim inherited the estate. But not directly. Every factory share, every property, every account, transferred into a permanent educational trust. The condition? Rahim would serve as unpaid director for life. He could never sell the assets. He could never withdraw profit. He would receive a modest living stipend, equal to a mid-level manager's salary. Nothing more. The relatives erupted in fury. This is manipulation. She brainwashed him. He planned this. But the documents were airtight. Samina had not made him rich. She had made him responsible. Reporters swarmed outside again. This time, the story twisted differently. Teen husband gets no fortune. Millionaire leaves everything to charity. Rahim did not speak publicly for weeks. Instead, he went back to the locked wing. He added one more photograph to the wall. Samina Qureshi. Underneath it, he wrote, Builder. Years passed. The trust expanded. More schools. more scholarships, more clinics. Raheem finished his engineering degree, top of his class. He could have left. He didn't. When asked in interviews why he stayed despite no fortune, he simply said, "Because collapse is not the end. Rebuilding is." The world had expected scandal. Instead, they witnessed transformation. He had married for survival. He inherited purpose. And sometimes, that is worth more than millions.